Hi everyone, my name is Dévi and welcome to Book Connoisseur. So we have an exciting video today, and that is going over the Longlist for the Women's Prize for Fiction 2024. This is the inaugural year for this prize, and I just wanted to preface this video by saying it's really important to read nonfiction by women because often women aren't taken as seriously in their field, and nonfiction books we pick up by women are either memoirs or they're about women, and this prize shows that women can be experts in their field regardless of what it is, and I think that that's a great thing to celebrate today and always, and should have been celebrated a long time ago. Just another reminder, this is a UK prize, so some of these books are not available yet in the US and will be out later this year, and I'll let you know which ones those are and when they will be available. I tried to be as brief as I could because there are a lot of books to cover, and I want you to just get a little taste to see what maybe you might want to pick up. It's ambitious to try to read this entire list. It's very dense reading. Apparently it's very accessible reading, which I'm excited for because I'm not a huge nonfiction reader. So if you subscribe to my channel, I'll have future videos where I talk about how accessible this reading was for me and which books really struck a chord with me. Okay, the first book is Intervals by Marianne Brooker. And this book is coming out on February 28th, 2024 in the US. This is a memoir intertwining the terminal diagnosis of the author's mother with end-of-life care. Just for reference, I have notes on my computer listed here about each book and their specific titles, so if I'm glancing this direction, that's why. The next book is All That She Carried, The Journey of Ashley Sack, A Black Family Keepsake by Taya Miles. This is a story about a cotton sack that was given to a daughter by her enslaved mother when the daughter was set to be sold. The sack was later embroidered by her granddaughter, relaying its history. This book I have gotten on audio and already started, and I cannot wait to talk about it, and I will hopefully finish it in the next few days so that it will be part of my February wrap-up. The next book is Wifedom, Mrs Orwell's Invisible Life by Anna Funder. This is the story of Eileen O'Shaughnessy, who is the wife of George Orwell. Her influence can be seen throughout his work, but she is often not mentioned and completely forgotten about. In fact, many people didn't even know he had a wife. The next book I actually purchased already because I was so excited about it, and it is thick. Shadows at Noon, The South Asian 20th Century by Joya Chatterjee, and this is a story about partition and Indian independence, I should say India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, and this is obviously important to me. My mother was born in India, my grandparents immigrated to the United States from India, and what excites me about this book is that I don't know much about partition, and my grandparents lived through it. I should say my grandmother lived through it. Yeah, I'm excited for this one. And this I plan to read very slowly, which is why I purchased it, and I'm hoping it's accessible enough that I can, actually finish it. But we'll see. I'll keep you updated on that. I'll probably post some updates in my wrap-up, maybe on my Instagram if you follow me on there, Book Connoisseur, also on Instagram, and yeah, I'm excited. The next book is Codependent, Living in the Shadow of AI by Madhumita Murgia. And this book is coming out June 18th, 2024, so we have a little bit of time before it's available to us here in the US. This explores what could happen if we fail to reclaim our humanity as artificial intelligence continues to influence our behavior. I'm really interested in this specifically because often I feel the discourse around AI and the tech world in general is very male, and so I'm excited that it's written by a woman. The next book is Eve, How the Female Body Drove 200 Million Years of Human Evolution by Kat Bohannon. Now, this book tells the story of evolution from the lens of the female body, as it said in the title. But I think that's really interesting because so much about science has been centered around men and the male body, and often, I keep thinking of like studies on medication is often done on men and not women, and then it's passed by the, or here in the US it's the FDA, and recommended by doctors, and we have no idea how these things might be different if it had been studied from the perspective of a female body. So yeah, I'm intimidated by this book. I'm not much of a science person, so it should be interesting. I'll let you know how I get along with it, but I am planning to read this book on the sooner side. The next book is Thunderclap, a memoir of art and life and sudden death by Laura Cumming. Okay, so this book is about an explosion in 1654 that devastated the Dutch city of Delft, killing the artist Carl Fabritius, also known as the artist behind The Goldfinch. So if you've read Donna Tartt's book, this is a true story of the artist who created The Goldfinch. I'm really excited for this. I myself am an artist, and so art books are, what I read in school. I'm very used to reading about art, and I know not everyone is, so I'm happy to read this and tell you if this is an accessible book or not, because I'm used to inaccessible art reading. So we'll see. I got this on my Kindle already, so I'm really excited about it. The next book is A Flat Place by Noreen Masood, and this book follows a British Pakistani woman from her youth in Lahore, where she was very confined and controlled by her abusive father, to her young adulthood and adulthood in Britain, where she is dealing with complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and how she relates to the flat landscape that she sees in Britain, and also that she used to see in Lahore. I'm already part of the way through this book, and this is extremely accessible. If this list of books intimidates you, this is a great place to start. I'm really interested in memoirs like these because I'm mixed, and so I'm half Indian and half Irish, and she, being half Pakistani and half Scottish, is very similar to my background, and I'm curious to see how our experiences might overlap. The next book is Some People Need Killing, a memoir of murder in my country by Patricia Evangelista. Now, this is a book written by a journalist chronicling the drug war in the Philippines under the regime of Rodrigo Duterte. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm not totally positive. I don't know a whole lot about this. I don't know a whole lot about the drug war in the Philippines, other than it's very cruel and disturbing. So I'm planning to read this. I'm not sure how accessible it'll be. If it's not accessible, I might not be able to read it. But if it is, then I'm excited to learn something new and be informed about politics that are happening in this world. The next book is The Dictionary People, The Unsung Heroes Who Created the Oxford English Dictionary by Sarah Ogilvie. So this is the story of how the Oxford English Dictionary came to be, and I say that because it was crowdsourced, which I think is so cool. So there were over, I have the number, 414,825 entries, and it was finished in 1928. And the people who contributed to it came from all sorts of walks of life, from, I think it said, oh, here you go. They include 3 murderers, a collector of pornography, the daughter of Karl Marx, a president of Yale, a radical suffragette, a vicar. I mean, the list goes on. Yeah, I'm really excited about this book. This might be the next one I pick up after I finish the 2 I'm working on currently. And something else I just wanted to show you, where the way it's set up is alphabetically. So there's stories going from A through Z, and yeah, it sounds so cool. I'm really excited to learn more about this. The next book is called Vulture Capitalism, Corporate Crimes, Backdoor Bailouts, and the Death of Freedom by Grace Blakely. And this comes out in March 12th, 2024 for US readers. And basically this is an overview about our capitalist system and the modern capitalist crisis and how it was set up to occur by big corporations. I don't know much formally about capitalism. I read about it in the news. So I think I'm gonna try to read this book. I am excited to obviously read about capitalism and the economy from the perspective of a woman, but also it seems like a good overview for people who might be unfamiliar with how things are set up currently, and that's me. The next book is Young Queens, 3 Renaissance Women and the Price of Power by Leah Redmond Chang. And this book is about Catherine de' Medici, Elizabeth de Valois, and Mary, Queen of Scots, and how they all lived in France together in the French court, and then separately went on to become part of these monarchies that existed in Europe, and how their lives intertwine. Yeah, I'm excited to read this. I'm a big fan of Renaissance fiction, so it will be interesting for me to help contextualize some of the other books I've read, and yeah, we'll see how, again, I say the same thing for all of these, how accessible this is, because sometimes history, nonfiction can sort of have my eyes lolling back to the back of my head, but I'm going to try my best to read this one. Yeah, I'm excited about that. The next book is called The Britannias, An Island Quest by Alice Albinia. And this is the story of the British Islands and their different variety of cultures and language that came from them. And this book comes out on February 27th, 2024 in the US. This I'm actually really interested about. I don't know anything about British Islands. I can maybe name a few, the Channel Islands, I think. So, I mean, I'm excited to learn about them. I don't know anything about it. Again, we'll see if I get to this book. I'm hoping to, but I've got some ambitious reading plans coming up, so we'll see. The next book is called Tressence, On the Metamorphosis of Pregnancy, Childbirth, and Motherhood by Lucy Jones. And I took a quote straight from this description of this book because I thought it really summed it up nicely. And it says, a radical new examination on the transition from motherhood and how it affects the mind, brain, and body. This book is extremely relevant to me currently. I have a 16-month-old toddler, and I've gone through a lot of changes in the past almost year and a half, and I'm very curious as to what I can learn from this book. yeah, and I think it'll be a great read, and I might even recommend it to my husband after, just so we both have some information about, you know, the changes that I've been going through. Yeah, maybe it would help us both understand a little better. The next book, Doppelganger, A Trip into the Mirror World by Naomi Klein. You might recognize her name. She's a pretty well-known journalist, and this book is about how she was getting confused for another Naomi Klein who was like deep into the far-right conspiracy theories on the internet, and how she dealt with that. Yeah, which I think is scary, very scary, but interesting. The last book on this list is How to Say Babylon by Safia Sinclair, and this is a memoir about the author's upbringing under the roof of her father, who was a strict believer in a militant sect of Rastafari. This book is extremely popular right now, and actually this is the book I had the hardest time getting my hands on. It's the only one I think that's out already, and I cannot get my hands on it because there's so many holds at the library. So yeah, I'm hoping that comes in eventually, and I'll get to find out why it's so good and why everyone's gobbling it up. That is the long list for the Women's Prize for Nonfiction 2024. I keep saying fiction, it's nonfiction. The shortlist will be out at the end of March, and then the finalists will be announced at the award ceremony, the Women's Prize award ceremony in June. So if you are like me and wanting to get through as many of these long list books as possible, you have until June to read them all. And then if you're, you know, interested in doing just a short list, that'll be out at the end of next month. Yeah, I'm excited to learn some more and challenge myself to this intimidating list of books. I'm excited to be reviewing the inaugural list of nonfiction books. If you want to follow along, please subscribe, like this video so you can keep track of it, and if you have any plans to read any of these books, please let me know. Let's discuss it in the comments. I am eager to discuss these with someone else. And what order do you plan on picking them up? Which ones interest you the most? Let me know, and I will talk to you again for another Booktube video soon.